Hi there, my name is Mona. I'm a self-published author. Welcome to my channel, Right, with Mona. The purpose of my channel is to help other self-published authors through their writing journeys. Today's topic is 4 ways to finding your unique story ideas for children's books. You can draw inspiration from your own childhood. Observe the children around you, and you can mix and match genres. And lastly, keep a dream journal. Drawing inspiration from your own childhoods. You can revisit your childhood memories through your activities and hobbies. This can become the foundation for your story. I know when I was young and I was a child dreaming, I wasn't dreaming of writing stories, but I used some of my activities that I had to do some of my children's books. One of my storybooks is The Stink Monster. The example that I got through my activities through the Stink Monster is that I used to pretend, with my brothers that we're in a room and it's dark and, we're like scaring, monsters come into the room and chase us around the room. And some of the hobbies that I had was drawing. I used to draw little monster-looking creatures. I had a warped imagination when I was a child, but it also helped with my writing. Some of the special places you can create a vivid backdrop for your story. And also emotions and experiences. This can help shape your character's motivation and adventures. B, you can use some of your personal triumphs in some of your challenges. When you do that, you can overcome some of your fears that you have. This empowers some is empowering for some young readers. You can also use some of the goals that you have achieved. This can inspire plot points and character development. Friendships and relationships. These stories are about forming bonds and resolving conflicts, and that can really resonate with children. C. Incorporate childhood imaginations through imaginary friends and fantasies. These elements can help create whimsical or even magical storylines. Your dreams and daydreams can also spark unique plot points and settings. You can create creative play. You can imagine scenarios that can inspire and captivate, your story. Observe the children around you. Engage in playtime activities. You can join their games, like hopscotch or jumping rope. You can see the world through their perspective and also understand what excites them. I know I used to play hopscotch all the time, and you have to jump on the little numbers, and when you get out, you step on a rock, where the little block is, and you step on the rock and the block, and you're like, oh crap, somebody might say a little twillity dee or get upset, and you can see the emotions coming through, and you can use some of those as some of your character backgrounds, a character art. You can have your villain have a certain way of speaking and a certain little language that they can use, and that brings children back to their childhood memories because they say, oh yeah, I used to use that word too. Watch your interactions. This example often can create insight into your character development and a dialogue for your story. You can also capture the spontaneity. Some of those unplanned moments often reveal the purest forms of imagination, and this can spark a unique story idea. B. Listen to their stories and questions. You encourage storytelling. Example is you can ask the child to tell you a story and then describe their day. Also use open-ended questions. This response can lead to original plot ideas and character traits. And also, it won't give a yes or no answer. They'll have to explain more of what it is that they're trying to say in their story. Note reoccurring themes. This example can indicate what fascinates the children and what they find relatable, or exciting. C. Observe their art and drawings. This example, you can ask for, to ask them to explain or listen to their descriptions and the stories behind it, the images that they draw. You can also look for patterns. You notice any recurring themes or settings in their artwork. Also, you can capture the emotions. Emotions can add depth to the characters that they draw and the plot line. Mix and match genres. Blending classic themes with a modern twist. Examples are modern fairy tales. You can imagine a princess who uses a smartphone to navigate through an enchanted kingdom because now children are using their smartphones for everything, so they can relate to that. Sci-fi and historical fiction. Just imagine a time traveling robot, who helps children solve mysteries in medieval Europe, or even Asia, or Africa, or Egypt, for example. Mythology and a slice of life. Just imagine a young demigod attending a regular school and dealing with both a supernatural being and a typical challenge, a school challenge they may have. B. Create a hybrid world. An example of this is, fantasy and mystery. A detective agency can be run by talking animals in the mystical forest. Also, adventures and comedy. A group of children on a treasure hunt encounters funny characters. Either horror or fantasy. This could indicate, what fascinates them and they can find relatable. Just like in my story, again, the Sting Monster, I used a dream that I had when I was a young child, where I was jumping rope and I was playing and I was doing hopscotch again, and all of a sudden I stepped on the rock and a Frankenstein monster grabbed me and bit the back of my head, and I woke up. I was scared to death. Another book that I have written with, horror and fantasy is A House on the Corner. And this book here, I got the idea of, when children talk in school and they're, a child, one of their best friends didn't come to school for a week, their imagination starts running wild and they're sitting there, oh my God, I wonder what happened to them, and it goes to the far left, oh my God, maybe something happened. And, they're not in school because, they got stranded in this house and they'll never return back to school. And that's a vivid imagination that children have. Mix realistic fiction and fantasy elements. Example of this is, a magical realm, a garden that comes to life at night with fairies and talking plants. Super Heroes in school life. You can blend your superheroes with a typical school day experience. There may be a child that has to stand up in front of a class to give a speech and they're shy. And a superhero may be um, Batman. And Batman, he's an eloquent speaker, so he has to get up in front of, his employees and make a speech. And I would imagine him being super Batman and or super another superhero maybe Clark Kent, Superman, and he's really shy, and a child may be in school that's really shy, and they want to sit with other classmates, but they're afraid because they're too shy, and they wear a Superman shirt to school, and it gives them confidence, and they'll go and walk around with the shirt on all day, and when they do go to lunch, they'll see the group of kids that they want to sit with, and it gives them confidence to go up and sit at the table and start a conversation. Science and fantasy. This is another example of mixing and matching genres. A young scientist who discovers a portal to a parallel universe. This is filtered with magical creatures and scientific wonders. This happens a lot in a lot of children's stories. Keeping a dream journal. This is very important because I know when I keep a dream journal, it helps me out a lot because I can't remember some of the dreams that I have. So this is a good one. Set up a constant or consistent routine. When you keep a dream journal by your bed, this way you can quickly jot down your dreams as soon as you wake up. Also, you can record your dreams immediately. Even if you only remember, little fragments, you jot them down. And over time, this can help you and your recall improve. Create a morning ritual. You spend a few minutes a day reviewing your dreams and then reflecting on any reoccurring themes and symbols. B. Include detailed descriptions and reflections. Describe the dreams in your environment. Note any of your settings and specific colors, the weather. It may be hot one day and cold the next, and any specific details that stand out. This can also help with your dream journal and understanding some of the dreams that you may have. Record characters and actions. You can also write down people, animals and creatures that you encounter. You know how they look, their behaviors, and their interactions within each other. Reflect on emotions and symbolisms. You can ask yourself what these elements might represent. Use creative techniques to enhance your journals. You can use a sketch. You sketch your dreams, the scenes, um, where it took place, how it looked. This can help you recall details and uncover new insights that you never thought of, when you first started writing and creating your journal notes. Write from different perspectives. Also, this can help, write from a different perspective of your character and or an objective in your dreams. You can write from, the bad guy's perspective and try to understand why he acts the way he acts, and what would help him to become a nicer person. He may have an issue with him wanting to be like the friend that he's bullying, but he can't express it because he's a little bit jealous because he wants to be his friend, but he doesn't know how to ask. So you can write it from his perspective, and then it'll give it a little bit of a more realistic and humanistic approach to your writing. Create dreams and titles and themes. This can help you organize your journal, and then you can make connections between the different dreams at different times. Again, thank you for watching 4 ways to finding your unique story ideas. Again, I want to thank you for coming to my channel and also watching, and hopefully you'll describe and like my channel. I have another book out. It's called Zola the Purple Spotted Giraffe, and you can find all of my books. You can buy them at Barnes and Nobles. Again, thank you for watching and enjoy your day.